Hello everyone. So we have a new moon in Scorpio occurring on November 13th, 2023 at 3:27 a.m. at 20 degrees 44 seconds. So eclipse season is finally over. Thankfully, we can start manifesting. We can start setting those intentions for the next 6 months again. So there's no way to sugarcoat this one. This is a really tough new moon. The moon is in its fall in Scorpio. It's in its most difficult sign. Scorpio is very intense and the moon rules our feelings and our intuition. So with this new moon in Scorpio, we may be picking up on some of the lower vibrational energies around us. We could also be experiencing a lot of emotional intensity. The most difficult part of this also is the fact that Mars, the planet of anger, motivation, drive, determination, is sitting there right there on the new moon. We also have Uranus, the planet of rebellion, of sudden shocking changes, and in opposition, a difficult conflict energy. So here we have one of two things that are going to come into play. For most of us, it's either going to come in the form of an unexpected, shocking change that we just don't feel ready for, that we're forced to be thrown into and take action. The other possibility, with Mars being anger, Uranus being rebellion, Mars is also decisive action, we could also get to the point where we just completely go full force into something without really thinking about it. We can really be rebellious and really make some rash, impulsive decisions. It's like the energy of last time, but much more difficult. The last very difficult lunation we had that was similar, but this is much more difficult. There's also another possibility, and that's the possibility that you may just reach a point in your life somewhere, usually ruled by Scorpio or one of the planets opposing this new moon in Scorpio. This area of life may become to the point where we just have put up with something, we've put up with something, we've put up with something, and this new moon might just be a crisis point where we just have to take the decisive action, and it pushes us because the opposition with Uranus is very disruptive, but Uranus also forces us to make decisions that end up facilitating more freedom, even though they are rather disruptive. So we do have some positives though. We also have a trine with Neptune, the planet of spirituality, of meditation. So this would be a wonderful time to meditate. Neptune is the god of the sea. So spending time near water, maybe going to your local gym, since Mars also rules exercise. This would be a great time to go to your local gym, do some laps in the pool, spend some time near natural water to help calm you. Because otherwise you do run the risk of being the person to take this intense, decisive action. We also have a sextile to Pluto, which gives us an option to change and transform something in our lives. So even though this is very difficult, we need to use our intuition and really listen to what's going on underneath the surface rather than just taking things at face value and acting upon them. We need to remember the difference between fear and actual intuition. So do your best to tap into that if you do have some sort of spiritual practice. And if you don't, you could even spend time at your place of worship, as Neptune is connected to all forms of spirituality regardless of how you choose to celebrate that. So some of the affirmations: I'm listening to both my head and my heart when making decisions. The gradual changes I'm making will be to my highest good in the long run. I am giving myself and my loved ones the grace, space, and forgiveness that we all need during this time. We also need to watch out for taking big risks that could cause some sort of physical injury, as that is a possibility, or some sort of long-term disruption in our lives. And then of course you could talk to your holistic physician about something like ashwagandha, CBD, kava, herbal teas, things to calm the mind and the body so that we're not making some rash decisions. So again, don't rebel too hard. Really try to use your discernment and not make changes that you wouldn't have made a week ago. Make sure they're thought out. So for the tarot, we have the moon reversed. It's interesting because the moon reverse is connected to releasing fear. And what's interesting about that is Mars is actually about taking decisive action, but Scorpio is connected to picking up on the lower vibrational energies. It also talks about internal confusion, which is really interesting because Neptune is the planet of deception and confusion. So do make sure that you are not just acting on something that you think you might be picking up on. Make sure you use your discernment again. It's also talking about being aware of emotional sensitivity. So make sure that you're not saying, oh, I'm feeling this energy in the room, and then really you're picking up on the collective energy. Really try to make sure you know the situation before you take action and say something or do something that you don't mean. We also have the Lovers upright. This is interesting because this can talk about physical intimacy as an outlet, but it also talks about choices and free will and reminds us that we have the choice to take this action, and whatever choices we make are going to have consequences. I also think this can talk about finding support through friendship and learning to forgive any of the loved ones that do fall victim to this energy. I hope you enjoy this new moon in Scorpio. Bye guys.